Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a game that pretty much nobody asked for. I think anybody would have preferred a different type of game, a Justice League centric game or a Suicide Squad centric game, but instead we're playing as the Suicide Squad to kill the Justice League. Now, I wanted to give this a chance, and a lot of people wanted to give this a chance because it's made by Rocksteady. These are the same guys who made the Arkham games, or at least three of them, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. And, some of these games, were some of the best ever. Of course, Asylum and City, they got Game of the Year for their respective years when they came out. And I think Arkham Knight also got Game of the Year, even though elements of it were definitely disappointing. That being said, you cannot deny how good that game was. Hell, it was that good, Gotham Knights, even though it is a decent game, never stood a chance, I'm not saying it's a great game, but compared to the Arkham games, it just never ever stood a chance. So, that's how big it was, and that's how big the expectations were for any new DC games coming out, because the Arkham games had just set such a high threshold, and you would have thought that they would have made a good game with this one. And I don't doubt that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a good game. I don't doubt it at all. But what's important to a lot of people, especially with these games, is the story, That's why Arkham Knight was seen as very disappointing in a lot of people's eyes. It's why Arkham Origins, when people revisit that game, is seen as really, really good. And arguably one of the best games. In my opinion, it's the best game in the series. It's not even made by Rocksteady, but Arkham Origins is one of my favourite games ever. Asylum, City, Knight, they're all in the top 25 for definite as my favorite games ever, maybe even top 15. They're all included in that list. And so there was a level of expectation there. And I feel like the worst thing that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League did before it even came out was announce that it was set within the Arkhamverse, because that immediately sets off red flags because of the way Arkham Knight ended. We're supposed to believe that Batman went into hiding after being discovered as Bruce Wayne. And bear in mind, think about all the money for damages he would have had to pay legally. You're telling me he comes out and is and everyone just lets that go, Bruce Wayne owes a lot of money to Gotham City, a lot, legally, by law. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm trying to put into context how stupid it would be for him to come back as Batman and everybody to just let it go, especially since everybody knows who he is now. And I've not played the game, but I didn't pre-order it for those reasons. I didn't pre-order it because I had no belief in it. And it's been so many years, almost 10 years since Rocksteady's last game, Arkham Knight. There's no way that's the same studio. Absolutely no way. And we know what's happened with studios that have completely changed directions, not directions, but completely changed employees. It's going to happen with Rockstar with GTA 6, I can guarantee it. But look at Volition with Saints Row, The first 4 Saints Row games are some of the best open world games you can get. And then you get to the Saints Row reboot. I couldn't even finish it. That playthrough, no, I'm not going to continue it. I had fun with it while it lasted, but I was not enjoying the story at all. And same thing happens with BioWare. I think they do Mass Effect. You know what happened there with Mass Effect Andromeda. Bethesda with Fallout, that happened there. That's just completely gone off the wayside. Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed. All these, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the recent game, does a very similar thing to what this game does, and that is kill off a beloved character that for a stupid reason that had so much build up to it previously. And first of all, obviously, it makes no sense for Arkham Batman to even die, but we could set the eye even broader. There is no sense for the Justice League to remain under mind control from Brainiac, especially with Batman. Like, doesn't he have like one of the strongest mental fortitudes of like any superhero ever? You know, if there's anything that Batman has over literally every superhero, it's his brain. And it just doesn't make any sense that Brainiac would not only be able to gain control, but maintain control, you know? Despite the name being Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, I genuinely had hope that they weren't actually going to kill the Justice League, that was going to be the objective. But in reality, you would be able to break their mind control, and then you would team up with the Justice League to take down Brainiac. That's not the case. You actually do kill the Justice League in this game. Normally, I wouldn't have a problem with that. You know, it's a game trying a different thing, its own concept, except it's not its own concept. It's not a different thing. It is set in the Arkhamverse. 5 years after Arkham Knight, which, again, makes no sense. And you just kill the Justice League like that. Like, throughout a game, you kill them. And Batman's death scene has made me so fucking angry. I cannot even begin to cover the emotions, honestly. I don't sound it because I don't want to start shouting, and quite honestly, it's quite late. The rest of my family are in bed, so I'm not going to shout or whatever, but I am furious. You guys, if you've stuck with me on the channel, you know how special the Arkham games were to me. We've played through each one over 3 times on the channel, you know? That's how special they are. We may not have played them in a few years, but still, you know, in the first few years of this channel's existence, we just replayed those games over and over again. Those games were truly special. The Arkham Batman was truly special. And this is how it ends. This is how the Batman really dies. And it's just so stupid, because if you're to see Suicide Squad as canon, because obviously it's official canon, but we can obviously self-canon or head-canon our own things here. And if you're not stupid, most people are not judging Suicide Squad as canon, because quite frankly, it should not be. It's not given nearly enough respect towards that character as it really should. And if it was the same Rocksteady, it would have received that respect that he deserved. He would have received that respect. Gotham Knights. Bear in mind, Gotham Knights has nothing to do with the Arkhamverse. It is literally its own separate thing. Even that shows more respect towards the character of Batman and his death than the guys, the same studio that made Batman so big in video games in the first place. It's just so silly. I don't get it. And don't even get me started on the fact that the story, its premise, is not original in the first place. I can name 3 DC games that have literally done the same thing. Lego Batman 3 was about Brainiac. DC Universe Online is about Brainiac. He might not be like in the game too much, at least in the first 30 levels, but his presence is felt throughout the game. It does Brainiac so much better in that game. And of course, Injustice 2 also has a Brainiac story, and one that makes a lot more sense. I'm pretty sure some certain characters do get mind controlled by Brainiac, but you break it. Why is there no mind control breaking in this game? In Suicide Squad. I don't get it. How can you kill off your character like this, you know? I see a lot of people comparing it to Joel's death in The Last of Us 2, which I don't agree with, because I genuinely feel like Joel's death was fine. It made sense in the context of the world. Like, if you're immersed in The Last of Us world, you know that's kind of the only way Joel could have died, to be quite honest, unless he stayed inside Jackson the whole time, you know, then obviously he could have died from old age. But if he kept going outside, obviously someone's going to look for revenge at some point, whether or not it's from the hospital or somewhere else. Like, Joel was going to die. He was bound to die. But this is different. This is probably the most disrespectful way to kill off a character I have ever seen, you know? And there's been some proper disrespectful ways, you know? But I could even say Soap's death from Modern Warfare 3 last year makes sense, because it's war, you know? Obviously, at some point, in real life, in the real world, you're going to get shot with a stray bullet at some point and you're going to die. It makes somewhat sense, you know? It's disrespectful, yes, but you can hide behind the fact that it does make sense. But with the established canon that is Batman, especially Arkham Batman, him dying in this way, him having the last words that he does is so disrespectful, you know? I understand that Kevin Conroy signed off on this, but with the context that this is his last, like, gaming role as Batman, before he died, it feels really disrespectful towards him. I don't understand what they were trying to do here. Even the whole cutscene. In the cutscene, Harley Quinn complains about, you know, she tries to make Batman look like a villain, like a proper villain outside of the whole evil brainwashing thing, because, oh, he emotionally manipulated her. Like, what? How many, like, no, emotionally, like, hurt her. How many people has Harley killed without a care in the world in the name of fun? What about all the families of the people that she killed? How do they feel, you know? Those lives are legitimately ruined because of Harley. There's no moral high ground to stand on, and yet the game makes it feel that way, that it's supposed to invoke some sort of emotion, like we're supposed to care, like we're supposed to empathize. You know, it feels so much like the Saints Row reboot. Like we're supposed to empathize with these guys who want to be gangsters to pay off their student loans. To me, in my mind, this is equally as stupid as that, you know? Why would I want to empathize with Harley Quinn over that? If anything, Harley needs to start redeeming herself, which she does in Injustice. That does it so much better, and you would think that Rocksteady would be the experts on this, and this is how you just know that it's not the same studio. And it's the same thing happened with BioWare, the same thing happened with Volition, the same thing will likely happen with Rockstar. Technically, it already has, if you count Johnny Klabitz from GTA 4, The Lost and the Damned, and compare that to how his character was treated in GTA 5. You know, just killed off in such a disrespectful way. This has the same energy, you know? Except this is worse, because this is a whole generation. This is 4 games worth of Arkham Batman. I'm counting Origins here. 5 games worth, plus a movie, because you've got Assault on Arkham as well. Deadshot is apparently black now, and the white Deadshot was a doppelganger. I'm sorry, this is the same Deadshot. This doppelganger Deadshot is the same guy in Arkham City, shoots a bullet off a wall, through a water tower, bounces off a car, and hits somebody. It is the most ridiculous snipe, the dirtiest snipe you will ever see. He does that in Arkham City, and we are supposed to believe that this is a doppelganger? What? It's the stupidest thing. That is the stupidest thing. You know, killing off Arkham Batman, that's like S-level stupidity. But changing Deadshot's skin color just because, and saying that the Deadshot that we ran into from Origins in Arkham City, who pulled off the most ridiculous snipe, the dirtiest snipes that COD players wish they could do, was a doppelganger. We're supposed to believe that. We're really supposed to believe that. That is SS tier stupid, you know? That's SS tier stupid. That is the stupidest thing in this game. People aren't going to point that out, but I am. I'm pointing that out. That is the stupidest thing ever. I fucking hate this game. I really do. I've never played it. I never will. And if anything, this further encourages me to go get Gotham Knights and give that a proper chance. And honestly, if you want your Batman fix, if you want your DC fix, I'd say go give that a chance as well. It does live service a little better. I've done my research on it. It genuinely looks like it could be a fun game. And at least it treats its characters with more respect. It might not be perfect. It might not even be a great game, but it treats its characters with a lot more respect than this does. This is abysmal. And where can they go from here? Genuinely, where can they go from here? Because all the heroes are dead now. Where do you go from here? You can't make a new Batman game unless you make a reboot, you know? They need to come out and just accept the L. They need to take the L and say that this game is not canon, because they've lost all credibility now. Like, nobody's going to want to buy their games anymore. If you're going to treat such a integral character like this, what are you gonna do with the Suicide Squad? You know, they're gonna they're gonna make Harley Quinn to seem like this amazing character, which she is, mind you, but they're gonna give her like plot armor. They're gonna give her the same attention that they gave to Batman in the Arkham games, and then they're gonna kill her off. You know, because the social, the social outlook will change. Like, can we not support this? Please don't support this. This is modern gaming at its worst. It might be a fun game. It might even be a good game, objectively. But morally, it's not. This ruins a lot of people's childhoods. If you're viewing this as canon, this ruins those games. Because Batman's not going to die to this. He had a gun pointed at him by Hush. With a hostage, by the way. He had Lucius hostage, and he dealt with that. You're telling me he's not going to be able to deal with almost the exact same thing here? He's Batman. He's Arkham Batman. He could just do a Fear multi-takedown, bro. Come on. This is stupid. I hate it so much. Please don't support it. I'm done with this game. I'm just going to go... I'm so disappointed. I didn't even play the game, and I'm disappointed. But I'm not surprised. And I think that's the thing we've got to take away from this. You can't trust any studio, and regardless of how amazing a franchise is, you just can't have satisfying endings. They've got to drag this on somehow. You can't have nice things in modern gaming. And that's the thing you got to take away from this. Don't trust a single video game developer ever again when it comes to story-driven games, because we're now in an age of live service games, and they need to find a way to keep this going. Call of Duty started this trend of killing off main characters. Watch, they'll find some way to bring the Justice League back, and I'm not going to be here for it. You know. Suicide Squad is not canon in my eyes. I'm going to forget this ever existed, and hopefully Rocksteady will realize this, make the much needed changes that they really need to do within their team. Some people need to be fired because they just have no respect for the IPs that they own at all. And honestly, hopefully, in a few years' time, we get to look back on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and we get to be like, oh God, remember when they tried that?